Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Joe Tophat. Kids have often been paired up with adults in popular fiction. A best example of this are kid sidekicks to superheroes, Robin being the most famous of the bunch. In theory, kids can relate to other kids more than they can relate to adults. So, adults need kid sidekicks for the kids to relate to somebody. At least that's what a focus group told the writers of the Real Ghostbusters. Even though the show had proven very successful, there was a lot of pressure by parents groups and focus groups to add kid characters so that kids can relate to them. This is where the Junior Ghostbusters come in. They were three kids named Donald, the Peter of the group, Catherine, the only girl who's a cross between Ray and Winston, and Jason, their Egon, who are friends with the Ghostbusters. They have their own clubhouse, Ghostbusters rings, and their own vehicle. Donald, Catherine, and Jason have to be the coolest kids in the world. They know the Ghostbusters. I would give my right arm to be able to say that. I love these kids, because they know Peter, Ray, Winston, and Egon. So, tell me, how did these three kids meet the Ghostbusters? Strangely, this question is never answered. We're supposed to accept that they have known the Ghostbusters for a very long time in their first appearance, even though we are just meeting them. The only theory I have is that the writers were forced to create these characters. And since they were being forced to create them, they really didn't care about them. They had no reason to want to introduce them in a proper way. How can I back this up? Well, there was an earlier episode that had a kid meet the Ghostbusters. The episode was called Masquerade, and the kid's name was Kenny Fenderman. It starts off by introducing him as a kid who loves to dress up like a Ghostbuster. He tells some kids who tease him a lot that he had recently joined them. To save face, he goes to the Ghostbusters headquarters where he introduces himself to Peter. Kenny tells Peter his story and begs him for a chance to prove himself. To make the kid feel better, Peter invents the Ghostbusters Auxiliary and makes Kenny an official member. A lot of thought went into Kenny's character, even though he was only in this one episode. That proves to me that they cared about Kenny because they took their time to introduce him to us. But with the Junior Ghostbusters, it was, here they are. So why couldn't Kenny have been a Junior Ghostbuster? He could have been the one who started the group, and Donald, Jason, and Catherine could have been friends of his. That would have been a more clever way of going about it. Ultimately, the Junior Ghostbusters only appeared in 2 Ghostbuster episodes, The Boogeyman is Back and Halloween 2.5, both of which were sequels to popular episodes, and 2 Slimer cartoons, Don't Tease the Sleaze and Class Clown. Fans of the Real Ghostbusters despise these characters. They like to pretend that they don't exist. In fact, they've been voted as the least popular characters on this show. It may be popular to pick on these characters and say they are the worst of the bunch. But to tell you the truth, I don't really want to do that because, in all honesty, I never hated them. Yes, they weren't introduced very well, but in all honesty, there's really nothing wrong with them. They were nice kids, and their interaction with the Ghostbusters and Slimer was kinda neat to see. Even if you find the Junior Ghostbusters annoying, you gotta admit one thing. They never took over the series like other characters would. They were just in 2 Ghostbuster episodes and 2 Slimer cartoons, making their appearances a grand total of 4 episodes. Besides, they're way better than the ladies in the new Ghostbusters movie. Now for the $1,000,000 question. Why didn't the Junior Ghostbusters catch on? Don't kids relate to other kids more than they relate to adults? Besides not being introduced well, I feel the problem is these 3 just didn't fit into the show. Kids watch the Real Ghostbusters to see Peter, Ray, Winston, and Egon, not Donald, Catherine, and Jason. When kids play pretend, they pretend to be adults, not kids. Besides, I think kids can relate to adults as much as they can relate to other kids. Peter is sarcastic, Ray is enthusiastic, Egon is the brains, and Winston's the everyman. These are characteristics that kids have. They are not exclusive for adults. Kids display these characteristics just as much. And one final thing. Isn't it a little condescending to assume that kids can only relate to other kids and not adults? Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments section what you guys thinking. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.